Okay, I have pushed the go live button, which means I'm probably live. So, hello to everyone watching now, watching later. I hope you're having a good week. Uh Darren, Brian, Alan, and bloody hell, my memory. I forgot who Burning Vandal is. Again. Sorry about that. So, what what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Marianne, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to say. All right, so Sunday is my birthday. I think I'm still doing a show on Sunday, unless I'm told differently by family. So I will be turning, I think the exact number is old as hell. Um, here's here's a headline that makes me really happy to read. Uh, just today. Aging is not gradual. Human bodies start to break down at exactly these two ages. A surprising new study reveals the exact ages when our bodies begin to break down, not gradually, but with dramatic shifts. Well, mine was about at age 36 or 37 when I got put into the hospital for the first time. Got old overnight, but all right. A recent study, okay, this is from where am I? DailyGalaxy.com of all places. A recent study has revealed surprising new details about the aging process, showing that the breakdown of our bodies happens not gradually, but at two very specific points, ages 44 and 60. Um, that's as much as I want to read about this depressing article, since I'm a lot closer to the 60 age than the 44 age. Um, yeah, let's just close that browser and never think about that article again. That would be the thing to do. Hey, have you guys heard? There's an aircraft carrier, the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman has allowed two fighter jets to fall into the water. Apparently, both worth 67 million. Now, I do not know where the aircraft is currently stationed at in the vast ocean of Earth, but are you thinking what I'm thinking? Right? Right? It's got to be Cthulhu. Got to be Cthulhu. Um, yeah. Troubling news from the ocean today. Well, I thought there was two of them. Yeah. Apparently, the crew of the USS Harry S. Truman aircraft character, carrier has allowed an F-18 Super Hornet fighter jet to fall into the water, where it can no longer be used for its intended purpose of flying in the air for the second time in a week. All right, I don't want to get all political, but I think we could have saved a few $1 million there. You know, yeah, yeah, you're right. I saw the Philadelphia experiment. Um, there you go. That was a good movie. It's aged though. Wonder if you guys have read this book, Thoughts of God, by a guy by the name of Michael Connelly, who also wrote um, he also wrote a very good book. Uh, uh, Let me find it here. I didn't know I was going to talk about this. Yeah, The Long Arms: A Story of Early Humans. Now, the really cool thing, I want to talk about this other book, but the really cool thing about The Long Arms is it's from the perspective of the last Neanderthal. A story of early humans. For a quarter of a million years, the Neanderthal clans survived in the harsh environment of the Ice Age Europe, using Stone Age technology. They hunted and raised their generations. They were a strong, resilient people. Then 30,000 years ago, new men entered their world, and in a moment of cosmic time, they were gone. This is the story of the Neanderthals of the Circle Valleys and their encounter with the long arms that would be us. Richly imagined, deeply researched, Michael Connelly reaches into the ancient past to bring the Neanderthal world to life. And I read this book a while back, and I'm thinking I'm going to reread it. Um, but let me. Yeah, where do I read the book? Oh man, I feel like a where 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 do I click on it? John, get in here. Show me how to do this. All right, here it is. Long Arms. It's on Kindle Unlimited, and it starts off. Um, Hopefully, Canali does not send me a cease and desist because I just want to read the first couple of paragraphs. Um, and it's written in the first person. I am alone, not like the hunter who finds himself separated from his spear mates, not like the young one caught in a sudden blizzard while gathering wood, not even, I suppose, like an elder turning to find a once familiar forest path, suddenly confusing and unknown. No, it is the kind of alone that goes deeper, pulling at the very heart of a person. A thing that reaches inside, twisting the stomach, causing breath to catch at odd moments. It is waking in the night to hear the sound of no other breathing but your own. It is the lack of noise when dawn sends its first light into the world and you realize there is no one stirring in the nesting pelts other than yourself. Basically, the whole idea behind this is that this guy is the last of his kind. Um, these days I build my small fire, break off sticks and twigs, cook my rabbits, split my marrow bones, chew my pine nuts and cattail roots, and in this part I highlighted a while back, when the wind and snow blot out the moon and the stars, I tell stories to the shadows and spirits who find their way to my small beacon of light. I comfort myself knowing that even shadows and spirits benefit from a warm fire and an old story. There were many of us not so long ago, and even more in my days as a young one, or so it seemed anyway. Who can be sure of such long ago memories, but I remember this with certainty. I was only 3 or 4 summers old. Um, I recall with clarity the wind blowing, causing the fire to jump and dance. And yeah, there's no way that reading a few paragraphs can do this book justice, but I highly encourage you to check it out. I hope you do. It's a very poignant book. I'm tangled up in my cords. Anyway, how are you guys doing? I got a nice comment from someone. Let me see if I can find it without wrecking everything. A few days ago, and I'll pull it up on my phone. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. All right, here we go. By the way, your podcast has helped me through a lot of difficult weeks. I'm often up late on weeknights, finishing work and household tasks, and your streams have made things easier to get through. The Thursday night videos are the best. You know that's when I just talk by myself, right? I did not. This is episode 43. I did not. The long arms. Thank you, Alan. I didn't really think this would become a thing. I just did it as an experiment one Thursday night, and it turned into another Thursday night, and you guys seemed like you really were enjoying it. Um, I guess you still are because you're still here. By the way, let me know that I'm still coming through okay because I'm getting some weird feedback from YouTube. Yeah, Alan linked to it in the side chat. Appreciate that, Alan. Now the other book is Thoughts of God, which is also on Kindle Unlimited. Um, let me find this book. Well, I've got the book right here, but I want to see. I can't. Yeah. All right. Let me read the back of this. Thoughts of God. This is why I read a lot of Kindle books these days. My eyes. Thoughts of God is a novel unlike any you have ever read. It is a thriller, the tale of two modern day hunters, one a killer of innocent children, the other the vigilante who vows to take him down. Yet it is so much more. It sees into the future and dwells on the past. It reaches into the galaxies of the universe to recount otherworldly struggles for life and death. And it takes you into the notebook of God, where questions, answerable and unanswerable, build to a violent, dizzying climax of earthly justice and cosmic vengeance. Um, and it is exactly that. On one level, it's a science fiction. Well, on one level, it is exactly that about a vigilante and the killer that he's after. But interspersed through the novel, there are passages that are observations from, I guess, God. And let me read one other thing. This might be a better description of the book. Canale's title, to begin with, is literal. In passages that bring new meaning to the phrase omniscient narrator, Canale offers the reader copious transcriptions from God's diaries, or to be more exact, God's lab notes, since the cosmos turns out to be a vast laboratory for testing certain hypotheses about the creation of a good society. But interspersed with the action of the novel, you'll find passages like this. I'd really like to get this guy on the podcast. I haven't been able to find an email address for him, but man, for a guy who doesn't seem to be very well known at all. He sure is. Um, well, first of all, he's obviously a very, very intelligent guy. And here's a passage. In the farthest corners of the expanding universe, darkness washed in, like a tide, from the eternal night of the abyss. It rolled in great waves, lapping at the edge of creation like a flooding lake. And in that farthest corner of the universe, walls of stars came together to form a dike which kept the universe at bay. Excuse me, which kept the darkness at bay. There is always darkness pushing in against the light. Constant vigilance is required. Feed is fine, thanks, Alan. You find just a couple more of those passages. Maybe sell you on this particular one. Now, this one's too long to read, but it recounts a scene from a planet in the heart of the Andromeda Galaxy, just next door to ours. In the heart of the Andromeda Galaxy, a planet orbits a small yellow sun, a star that is all but lost in the swath of suns which comprise that galaxy. The planet, itself small and inconsequential in the vast scope of the universe, isn't everything, has long since established a stable orbit in that magical range where the light from the star is strong but not too strong. Then it goes on to talk about some things that go wrong in the world. Last paragraph is God watches, unable to help. Such are the irrefutable laws of life and death in the universe. What I really like about this is, I don't know that this is a Gnostic view of a God figure, but it's certainly a view of someone who, it's very much someone who is running a very, very long and very, very huge experiment, trying to learn some things. I wish I could find it now, but there's parts about the darkness rising out. Yeah. Well, you'll just have to read it for yourself. But I hope I've sold you on this. Thoughts of God, Michael Connelly. It is on Kindle Unlimited, but in the print volume, the God's Notebook, the type is a bit different, so it's easy to tell when the action breaks from the novel itself and God's Notebook, so to speak. In the Kindle version, it won't be that hard to tell, but the type is the same for everything. Here's one: Reflections on the Death of Innocence. Yeah, somebody should help me on that one too. Uh, actually, it makes me think of. I just happen to have this near. Yeah, here we go. This is, um, well, you can see it. The Shifting Realities of Philip K. Dick. Selected literary and philosophical writings. If you don't want to get the huge exegesis, you could get this. Um, it's a really interesting book. Thoughts, writings of Philip K. Dick. Here's one titled Memories Found in a Bill from a Small Animal Vet, 1976. This segues from that Thoughts of Innocence thing. Hey, Dave. Philip K. Dick writes, when I first met Theodore Sturgeon, who wrote More Than Human, the good man said to me right off, what sort of universe is it that causes a man like Tony Boucher to die of cancer? I had been wondering the same thing since Tony Boucher died in 1968. So had Ted Sturgeon, although he didn't expect me to give an answer. He just wanted to show me what Ted Sturgeon, was like. I found I can do that too, let people know about me by asking that. It shows that I cared a lot about one of the warmest men who ever lived. Um, Tony Boucher contributed quite a lot to radio and horror and sci-fi. Uh, many moons before I was born, which is saying a lot. So, all right. Oh, I guess there's a new pope. There's an American pope. So I've got this Amazon Alexa thing, and for some reason, maybe this is a setting that I can turn off. It seems compelled to occasionally give me news. Um, Creatures of the Pool by Ramsey Campbell. Doesn't ring a bell. It's not a new one, is it? If it's an older one, I'm sure I've read it in the past. Um, and I'm an atheist, and it was kind of funny to me that it hasn't chirped at me in a while, and it chirps at me today to give me breaking news. There's a new pope, and then like 2 hours later, breaking news. Would you like to know more about the new pope? And I was like, dude, you, th- you're talking to the wrong guy. Um, None of this is to make light of anyone who's Catholic or religious or anything like that. I guess he's the first American. I, in the 80s, when I was young, somewhat young, um, Pope John Paul was the guy. And the reason I even remember that is in the cult that I grew up in. The cult leader was always railing about how Pope John Paul II was the Antichrist. Um, I mean, he seemed like a pretty nice Antichrist to me, but you know, um, when we got married in a Catholic church, and I wasn't Catholic, which is, I guess, not something that they like. Um, this is 30 years ago, okay? But Danielle and I had to go to this, man, I don't even know I can't even remember what it was called, but we slept in these cells for a couple of nights. Cells meaning these very small rooms, and we um, were, I guess, lectured is the word during the day at times. I don't remember a lot about it, but I had to agree to do it so that I could get married in the Catholic Church, which was very important to Danielle and to Danielle's mom. And of course, yeah, that was fine. Um, I didn't like it, but I would do anything for her. And but the main thing that the takeaway from that is one day they were talking about one of the priests was talking about, if your wife gets pregnant and if in the course of the delivery the choice has to be made, to save the life of the child or to save the life of the mother, then it was made very clear to all of us that were there that you save the life of the child. And uh, I did. Uh, I was only 25, so I did not take kindly to that and got into a big argument with the priest. So good times, good memories, because I said that was never gonna fucking happen. I think I did actually use the word fuck. So I'm like, I'm not killing my wife. Um, but that's my big takeaway from the whole new Pope thing. I don't know. This kind of stuff does not affect me at all, but he seems like a nice guy, I guess, is all I can say about him. So there's my great contribution to the whole Pope thing. All right, so if you want to check out, and we were, he was referring, Philip K. Dick was talking about Tony Boucher, pen name as Anthony. He wrote as Anthony Boucher. You can check out a story of his that's very highly regarded and has been, oh, good Lord, my wife is watching. An adult confirmation. God, that's exactly what it was. So yeah, the most important thing about the Pope is he's from Chicago, which my wife's from Illinois. So Illinois is a great state. It's almost as great of a state as Iowa, its next door neighbor. I mean, not everybody can be Iowa, but it's still a great place. You have to watch out for the girls who come from Illinois, though, to be honest with you. All right, so he's from Chicago, and oh, Anthony Boucher. I just posted. I just. I don't think she liked my Illinois crack. I just posted a reading of a short story called "They Bite" by Anthony Boucher. I think it was written in the 40s. I don't remember. My wife will tell you that I was pretty young in the 40s. So yeah, check that out. That's a good one to start with. For those of you with a lot of disposable cash who want to buy me a birthday present, let me just point you in the right place. Let's see here. Did Logan put that on here? I don't think he did. If he didn't, it's because I didn't ask him to. Okay, well, anyway, I'll find it my own self. Count and lists. Mike's wish list. There it is. Since I was looking up Tony Boucher earlier, I found this, the complete Boucher, which is $40, and put it on my wish list. There you go. Catholic Light. I'm reading Alan's comment. Well, if the Pope is a Scrubs fan, that probably means that they're going to win, right? I mean, I don't know a lot about Catholicism, but I'll bet that would mean that the Cubs win. Alan, do you see this? All-Star Superman is going to be an audio drama, or it is an audio drama already, and it's coming out on July 25th. And I just found out about this tonight. On sale, no, sorry, June. On sale, June 24th, 2025. I don't suppose I could get an early copy of this as a horror guy. That probably wouldn't fly. Penguin Random House Audio, in collaboration with DC, has crafted an audiobook for DC's iconic All-Star Superman crafted an audiobook. Let's see, a full cast of 25 voices, an original music score, and sound effects. Um, although I'm reading this on, I don't know, some comic site. It's not an audiobook, guys. It's an audio play or an audio drama. Let's see. In her adapted audio script, Megan Fitzmartin takes listeners inside the minds of the characters, including their inner thoughts. We hear Zabaro wrestling with his uniqueness, Lex Luthor's imperiousness, and Superman's own reflections on his world and his mortality. Um, yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to listen to it, but the ending of All Star Superman's just kind of sad, right? Oh, it's on Audible pre-order. I'm so there. Thanks, Alan. I've already gone longer tonight than I thought I would. Did you guys hear about Chismar? Richard Chismar? I don't suppose I need to talk about that too much or at all. Well, Richard Chismar apparently, he's the founder of Cemetery Dance. And the short version is Todd Kiesling, who's been on the show and will be again this year. Um, asked him for his royalties. He was trying to chase down his royalties, which you shouldn't have to do. But okay, everybody screws up, right? But here's what you don't do. Here's a screenshot from an email, Chismar and Todd Kiesling. Todd, royalties were due March 31st at the latest. Cemetery Dance is approaching 1 month past due. I depend on that income. Please advise. Chismar replies with some kind of laughing emoji. I'll pass it on to the folks who take care of that. Todd replies, I'm not sure why you're laughing, Rich. Aren't you the person who signs the checks? Chismar replies, here's what you don't do if you're late on royalties, okay? Here's what you do. You say, yeah, I'm really sorry about that, and I will get that corrected right away and get you a check or PayPal or whatever. That's what you say, because we all make mistakes. Here's what Richard Chismar replied with when Todd asked why he was laughing. He says, because you're a funny little man. And then he freaking doubled down on it when Todd talked about this on social media. And Chismar goes, Todd writes, this just down. Apparently, I'm a funny little man. Shares the screenshot. Richard Chismar replies on social media for God and everybody to see. You definitely are. I'll make sure your 3 weeks late royalties are paid as soon as Dan runs the numbers. Should be next week. Best of luck with your new release. I guess at this point, Todd had enough of Rich and said, go fuck yourself, man. Dan ran the numbers in February. Might be funny to you, but I'm not laughing. I depend on that money. So I don't know. I had no idea that Richard Chismar was such an asshole, but not that he cares, but he'll never be back on my show. Which I'm certain will do nothing to his career, but just so you know, if you go to the Lovecraft Easing website, up at the top there, or if you're on mobile, you can click that 3 lines thing. But like the fourth one down at all the main links at the top is a link uh, titled Community and Events. And I just updated this There's a link to the Lovecraft Easy and events calendar. Um, Sorry, I'm looking at the comments. Reading Weird Fiction in the Age of Fascism by Zachary Gillian. Yeah, I'll check it out. Thanks, Simon. Um, so there's a link to the calendar. There's a link to the podcast alert mailing list, which I assume all of you are on, and goes down through the week. Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern. All these times are going to be Eastern. Lovecraft Easing Podcast. Tuesdays at 10 p.m. I Read Horror. We're going to be doing Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern game night. Either going to start next Wednesday or the Wednesday after that, depending on if I have to go to a meeting that night or not. Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern. Thursday Night Live. You may know this because you're watching it. And then Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, Patreon Hangout. And then Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern is movie night. So holy moly, there's something going on every night of the week except for Monday, except for Mondays. Wow, we're working hard here. Um, Matt does a great job with movie night, by the way. You should check it out if you haven't checked it out yet, it's great. Um, there is a story that I told when I had Nathan Ballingrad on the show a few months back. Um, I told him something that he didn't know, and that I still haven't told Dale Bailey. I'll give you the link to this story in a minute at the Lovecraft Easing website. It's free to read. But in 2010 or so, I can't remember the name. I didn't know I was going to talk about this otherwise. I can't remember the name of the Ellen Datlow Lovecraftian anthology, but she was either her first or her second one. And there was a story in there called The Crevasse by Dale Bailey and Nathan Ballingrad. Wrote this short story together. And I love the whole anthology, I remember at the time, but I especially loved this story. And I had been considering doing something like the Lovecraft Easing for a little while. And I read this story and I thought, what a great piece of cosmic horror. Um, that is not pastiche at all. You know, there are no Lovecraftian monsters, anything of that like that. Might be children of Lovecraft, Alan. Not sure, but if this story is in that anthology, then that's the one. Yeah, it's definitely worth picking up. Well, anything Ellen edits is worth picking up. But I read the story and I thought it was fantastic. But more than that, I thought if I could publish stories that were that quality, but yet were free to read on for free on a website, that would be pretty cool. So I told Nathan that I guess almost directly, he and Dale, their story, along with Ellen publishing it, um, kicked me in the butt to get the Lovecraft Easing going. And as you know, it morphed over time it was both the magazine and podcast for a while and other things. And, but here's the link, by the way. Let me post it in here. There you go. And, for a while it was both of those things. And then for a while it's been the podcast and a few other things, but the stories are still there on the website, free to read. And I'll shortly be publishing kind of a new version of the Lovecraft easing, the magazine. Um, but that's going to be, they're going to be like one every few months or so. It's not going to be a monthly magazine or anything like that. It's just going to be, I'll be occasionally publishing a story. Um, the first one will be by Michael Menace, um, who's a really great writer who's not well known. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But if you want to read some Lovecraftian fiction for free, just go to the Lovecraft Easing website and click on the Lovecraft Easing website edition. Um, Let me give you that link too. So there you go. Lots of free fiction to read. Great fiction to read. Thanks, Simon. Simon says, great channel, by the way. I think I followed after some Laird Barron interview. Who? Who's this Laird guy? Good to see people really working through the stuff, and I've got to say, hell, Discordia. You lost me, Simon. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, thanks to everyone for spending part of their Thursday night with me. And almost time for the weekend. Been a rough couple of weeks over here, but it always gets better. And I'm not sure that I'll be here on Sunday. I'll know soon. But I know I'll be here next Tuesday for sure. And I'm going to read some more Paul F. Olson stories, one or two, depending on length. I've got blanket permission to read anything of his anytime. So, how am I doing? Uh, could be better, could be worse. You know what they say, everyone always has it worse. Relatively speaking, there's always a lot to be thankful for and grateful for. So, anyway, guys, this might be a tad shorter than normal, but I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for spending part of your night with me, and probably see you on Sunday. Have a good Friday.